Canto number 8, chapter number 3, text number 18. The chapter is entitled as Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender. We'll try to recite the verse. आत्मात्मा जप्ता गृहवित्त जनेषु शक्ते दुष्प्रापनया गुणसङ्गविवर्जिताय मुक्तात्मभीश्वरदये परिभाविताय आत्माने भगवते नमः ईश्वराय। आत्मात्मजपत गृहवित्तजनेषु शक्ते दुष्प्रापनया गुणसङ्गविवर्जिताय मुक्तात्मभीस्वहृदये परिभाविताय ज्ञानात्मने भगवते नमः ईश्वराय। आत्मात्मजपत गृहवृत्तजनेषु शक्ते दुष्प्रापनया गुणसङ्गविवर्जिताय मुक्तात्मभीस्वहृदये परिभाविताय ज्ञानात्मने भगवते नमः ईश्वराय। आत्मात्मजपत गृहवित्तजनेषु शक्ते दुष्प्रापनया गुणसङ्गविवर्जिताय माताजी। मुक्तात्ममीश्वरदये परिभाविताय आत्मा the mind and body. Atmaja, sons and daughters. Apta, friends and relatives. Griha, home, community, society and nation. Vitta, wealth. Janeshu, to various servants and assistants. Shakti, by those who are too attached. Dushprapanaya, unto you who are very difficult to achieve. Gunasanga, by the three modes of material nature. Vivarjitaya, who are not contaminated. Muktatmabhi, by persons who are already liberated. Swaridaye, within the core of the heart. Paribhavitaya, unto you who are always meditated upon. Jnanatmane, the reservoir of all enlightenment. Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nama, I offer my respectful obeisances. Ishwaraya, unto the Supreme Controller. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. My Lord, those who are completely freed from material contaminations always meditate upon you within the course of their hearts. You are extremely difficult to attain for those like me who are too attached to mental concoction, home, relatives, friends, money, servants, and assistants. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, uncontaminated by the modes of nature. You are the reservoir of all enlightenment, the Supreme Controller. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes in the material world, he is unaffected by the modes of material nature. This is confirmed in Ishopanishad. Apapavidham, he is not contaminated. This same fact is described here. Gunasanga vivarjitaya. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears as an incarnation within this material world, he is unaffected by the modes of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Avajananti mam mudha manusham tanumashritam. Foolish men with insufficient knowledge deride the personality of Godhead because he appears just like a human being. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be understood only by the Muktatma, the liberated soul. Muktatma bhi swaridaye paribhavitaya. Only the liberated person can constantly think of Krishna. Such a person is the greatest of all yogis. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। I'd like to welcome all of you for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 8, chapter number 3, text number 18. So the chapter here is entitled as Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender. So there's a beautiful chapter where Gajendra, the king of elephant, is offering his prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just to tell us the background, Gajendra, the king of elephant, along with all his female associates, desired to go on a wonderful place. I always tell this, it's the holiday that turned into a nightmare. So they desired to go on a holiday. Generally, in today's world, if somebody wants to go on a holiday, they want to go on a hill station. They go to Mahabaleshwar, Matheran. If they want to go far in the north, Manali, Shimla, Darjeeling, right? In the west, people want to go to different places for holidays, Switzerland and Europe and so many places, right? But here we are talking about the king of elephant, and here he chose a very particular spot. This spot was, in the midst of the ocean of milk, right? And there is such a very beautiful high mountain. The mountain were called as the Trikuta mountain, the Trikuta Parvat. And then the altitude was almost 10,000 yojanas or 80,000 miles. And this mountain is known as Trikuta. And in that there was a beautiful garden. And the garden was named as Ritumat, right? And in that place, which was constructed by Varuna himself, and in that area there was a beautiful lake. And in that lake, this king of elephant, Gajendra, he started enjoying with the beautiful female elephants. Right? Just see the description given in the Bhagavatam, Even today, in this world of so much technology, you cannot get that place. And there, the king of elephant, he was enjoying. And since he was bathing, and many times when people enjoy in the swimming pool, people go in ecstasy, people are excited, they start splashing water, they start jumping, they become frivolous. And because of that, lot of noise and disturbance was created. And due to that, the crocodile inside that lake became extremely disturbed. And that crocodile went on to attack the feet of Gajendra. And as soon as the feet was attacked, you know, there was a fight between the elephant and crocodile. Although elephant is considered a very powerful animal which has a lot of power, but then that power is not so much in the water. And it is said that this fight continued for 1000 years. And in 1000 years, the fight was continuing. And because it was water, Gajendra was becoming weaker and weaker. And finally, a time came where he thought that now it's impossible for me to survive. He remembered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our acharyas explained that how could an elephant remember, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, because in his past life, this elephant was none other than the king Indradumna Maharaj. And somehow in his past life, he was cursed, and because of that, he became an elephant. But in that purport, Prabhupada writes that that is a power of prayer. Because in this last life, he must have done something good and he must have prayed. And that remembrance of the Lord, that way of praying to the Lord, helped him in his next life to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we see this whole chapter, we see Gajendra, although an elephant, but he was offering extraordinary prayers. In the past few verses, we have seen that how, he's offering such beautiful prayers. In text 17, in the last verse, you see, he's praying, since an animal such as I has surrendered unto you, who are supremely liberated, certainly you will release me from this dangerous position. Indeed, being extremely merciful, you incessantly try to deliver me. By your partial feature as Paramatma, you are situated in the hearts of all the embodying beings. You are celebrated as the direct transcendental knowledge, and you are unlimited. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And today's verse is saying, my dear Lord, those who are completely freed from material contamination always meditate upon you within the course of their heart. You are extremely difficult to attain for those like me who are too attached to mental concoction, home, relatives, friends, money, servants, assistants. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, uncontaminated by the modes of nature. You are the reservoir of all enlightenment, the Supreme Controller. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So, this whole verse, and especially the purport, we have a theme. The theme is from attachment to absorption. How to invite the Lord in our heart, right? So, the key message of this verse is the Lord is not difficult to attain because He is very far, right? We are staying in this place, and the Lord is millions and millions of miles away in the spiritual world. So it is not difficult to attain the Lord because He is very far, but He is difficult to attain because our heart is already occupied with material contaminations or material attachment. Right? Our heart is filled with worries, desires, expectation, envy, lust, anger, greed, the Shad Anarthas, fear, insecurity, prestige, right? Because of that, our heart is fully filled with all of this. And that's where the Lord, He's there in the heart, but we are not able to recognize it, right? But Krishna is always present in the form of Paramatma. But we fail to perceive Him because our consciousness is covered. The example is given just like there is sun. The sun is always shining, but thick clouds prevent us from seeing it, right? Because of the monsoon, the sun is there, but we are not able to see the sun rays because there's so much cloud, right? Similarly, the Lord is present everywhere, in every atom. He's also present in our heart as Paramatma. Krishna says in the Gita, Sarvasya chaham hridisannavisto mata smritirjnanam apohanam cha. Krishna is saying, I am seated in everybody's heart, right? But because the consciousness is covered, we are not able to perceive that, right? So the Lord is always present, but the material attachments are like the clouds. So that's why bhakti is a process, it's a gradual process. Slowly and steadily, the contamination will go day by day. That's why regularly attending the Harikatha and Harinam slowly is a process of purification, right? The Bhagavatam says, Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. So it is described that when we regularly hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, slowly and gradually our heart, which is full of contamination, slowly and steadily will try to, purify. So in this way, we'll develop purification and also we will develop taste for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhakti bhavati naishtiki. We'll develop bhakti also and taste to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this verse, it is said, Atmatma japata griha vitta janeshu sakte. So in this verse, it is described that, people who are extremely attached to material existence, right? People who are completely freed from material contamination, for them to meditate on Krishna is very easy. But for people who are materially attached, for them it is very difficult to connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this verse, Gajendra is saying what are the different attachments which are common in today's world. He said they are extremely difficult to attain for those like me. He's saying for people like him, Gajendra. And he's saying why? Because I'm too much attached to mental concoction, home, that is Griha, then there is relatives, which is Janeshu, then there is friends, then money, servants, and assistants. Right? So let us try and understand one by one. The first is Atma. Atma means self. How many of us are attached to the self? How many of you love yourself the most? Right? Including me. Right? Many times we love so much. We may say, I love my family, I love my friend, I love my relative. But the most important person in this whole world, which we love the most, is ourselves. Right? Every time we are thinking how this will help me, how this can give me the best enjoyment. If I get this, I will be happy. So that self consciousness is so much, right? That factor of I, right? Even in English, I is always capital. I stands for ego, I stands for selfishness. That I want to be loved, I want to be worshipped, I should be respected. And that's why the whole consumerism is always focused on how you can be happy, how you can be loved, right? That I consciousness is the most important thing. Even the famous brand is always talking about iPod, iPad, iPhone, which is increasing our attachment to Atma, that is self, right? And the whole advertisement industry or whole the media today is also trying to explain and trying to cash on your I consciousness. I was just driving on the highway, and once I saw a big hoarding, and that hoarding said, this was some insurance company trying to sell car insurance. And can you imagine what kind of sentiments they are using? The insurance company said that, there was a picture of a mother who was delivering a baby, and it said, let your child, let your newborn child have a special ride in your new car. That means the child is born, the first ride from the hospital to your home should be in the car. And if you don't have car, contact us for car loan. Can you imagine? The newborn child is born, and that child should be felt special only if you buy a car loan and take a car from us. And the first ride should be to the house. And then when people read it, then they say, oh, let me be special, let my child be special, let me give a special thing for my child. And even if they don't have money, even if they don't have savings, the whole world is running on credit card and loans and all of that. So that's why the self consciousness, we all love ourselves. The Brihad Aranya Upanishad 2.4.5 says that no one loves another for the sake of other. Everyone loves because the self is dear, right? So that is very important. So everybody wants to be selfish, right? How I can enjoy, how I can lord it over the material nature. But the day we come to Krishna consciousness, the first thing we are taught is you are not this body, you are spirit soul, right? And the whole journey begins from selfishness to selflessness. So ultimately, this is the most important principle which has been taught. Then comes the second thing, that is Atmajaha. Atmaja means the soul is attached not just himself, but anything which is in connection with him. That is his wife, his children, right? So that is Atmaja. Atmaja here specifically is mentioned here. That is sons and daughters. Nice. So parents are naturally attached to their children, right? Parents naturally sacrifice everything for their children. Nothing wrong, right? But the attachment is because, it is attached to you. And then this attachment later on becomes a bondage. Because in this attachment, we forget our Supreme Mother, the Supreme Father, that is Krishna. That's why in the fifth canto, it says, Gurur na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat. It said that a guru is not a guru, a mother is not a mother, a father is not a father, a relative is not a relative, a demigod is not a demigod until and unless they try to deliver the dependents from the cycle of birth and death. Right? So that's why the Bhagavatam says, then even if you are attached to your children, Still, that is a bondage because the ultimate attachment of this world is to be attached to Krishna. In our early days in Krishna consciousness, we used to hear this story of Kailash. Kailash, once he meets Narad Muni, and Narad Muni was so merciful, so magnanimous, that he was telling him that, come, I'll take you to the spiritual world. I will take you to Vaikuntha. He was giving him the ticket of back to Godhead. But then he said, I will come, but not now. You know, I'm just young now. I'll take care of my parents. I'll come. Then after some time again, Narad Muni asked him, he says, I just got married. I have so many responsibilities. I'll come. Then after some time, Narad Muni tells him, so are you ready? He says, no, I'm just now a father. How can I give up my young son who is so much dependent on me? Then he says, after some time. Then again he comes, he says, are you ready? He said, now I am a grandfather. Come after some time. Then later on he comes. He's an old man. He says, now, at least now come. He said, my children and my grandchildren are so irresponsible. They are not taking care of this family, so I'm here. And then after some time again he comes. This time he asks, where is Kailash? He said, he's passed away. Then he goes around and he sees the dog is barking and he says, I am that dog. Because he was so much attached to the house, he became a dog and he was taking care of the house even after dying. And he says, come on, now you're in a dog form. Come with me. I'll deliver you. He says, still my children, my grandchildren are useless fellows, irresponsible. I have worked so much hard, make this house, have kept gold and all this jewelry at my house. Still they keep open. So I'm guarding this house. So Narad Muni is telling this is the last warning. If you don't come next time, I'll show you. And then he goes. Again he comes, he tries to see the dog, but this time the dog is not there. Even the dog had passed away. So then he goes around, he sees a snake. And then the snake is saying, Narad Muni, I am Kailash. And he says, hey, you are now in the snake species. And he says, you know what? I was so much attached to this house. And then I became a dog. And I remember I had a lot of wealth. And I had put inside this behind my house. So I am here in the form of snakes to protect it. And then Narad Muni became so upset and so angry that he tells him that, I am trying to come every time just to deliver you. And you are not taking it seriously. Now I'll show you. Then he calls, snake, snake, snake. And all his children and his grandchildren, they come. And they only kill him and beat to death. So then Kailash, he understands, sir, for whom I gave my whole life. I took care of them. I gave them birth. I gave them family. I gave them everything. They are the only one who killed me. Of course, they didn't knew me that I was their father, but in one sense, I was so much attached to this world. And then he tells that I wasted so much of my life. I beg forgiveness, and then he takes him to the Vaikuntha. So we see today's world, although we know everything, but still because of the modes of material nature, because of the illusion of this material world, we many times fail to understand, right? Many years ago, I think His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gave wonderful classes, and we have His Grace Anand Vrindavan Prabhu here, and he had entitled some of that classes as five-star lectures. And in one of the five-star lecture, I think there's a class where Maharaj talks about the futility of material existence. And His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj speaks that class. And I think Anand Prabhu has heard that class for more than 200, 300 times. In that class, Maharaj is sharing The experience where Maharaj was on the bank of the river Ganges in, I think, Varanasi, in that place, the Manikarnika Ghat. And in that Manikarnika Ghat, dead body after dead body comes. And, people come to, do the cremation. And Maharaj was sitting there and he was observing that so many dead bodies coming. And, people are attached to money, fame, wealth of this world. And in a matter of time, how everything is turned to ashes. And then Maharaj gives the graphic description of how the body is burnt and how first thing that breaks is the skull, the brain, and then such graphic description he tells. And then Maharaj tells that, we are so much proud of this material existence, the body, the beauty, the wealth, the fame. But at the end of life, everything is gone and everything is turned into ashes. So that is why this is the thing. And that's why it is said that whatever we do, we should do as an offering to Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, it says, Yajnarthat karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhana. Everything, whatever we do, we are bound in the bondage of karma. But when we do it as an offering to Krishna, we don't get the reactions. So then is griha. Griha means house. So a materialistic person is attached to griha. So he's attached to griha means the house, the property, the wealth, and also the family. Right? So being attached to the house is not a problem. Prabhupada explains attachment to the house is not a problem, but attachment to the house which is without Krishna, that is a problem. Prabhupada made Krishna consciousness so easy. Prabhupada said, don't leave anything for Krishna, but just add Krishna to your life. Prabhupada used to give the example that, if somebody gives you a blank check with 10 zeros, does it have any value? But when you put any figure before that zero, every zero has a value. He used to say that this material life, it doesn't have value unless you put Krishna in front. Right? So that's why Krishna consciousness is very important. And Shukadeva Goswami, right in the beginning of the second canto, after he offers the Mangalacharan prayers, he says, what does karmis or so-called, graha medhis do? He says, Shrotavyadini Rajendra Nirnam Santi Sahasrasha Apashyatam Atma Tattvam Grihashu Grihamedinam. What is the lifestyle of Grihamedi? Their whole life is just, they're engrossed in material activities and being blind by the knowledge of ultimate truth. They have so many subject matters to discuss, but they fail to discuss the transcendental topics of Krishna. Then in the next verse he says, Deha apatya kalatradishu atma saineshu asatsapi tesham pramatta nidhanam paschan apina paschati. So because they are so much attached to the materialistic life, they see that all their soldiers are fallible. Fallible means one day they'll fall. And who are these soldiers? The body, the children, the wife. Every day, somebody's dying, but still they think, my family, my body, my relatives will be eternal. They are infallible. And because of that, they are seeing but not seeing. Paschan api na paschati. That's why uh, Krishna consciousness means to make Krishna as center. And grihastha means in the house, the center is Krishna. Right? So that is very important. When Srila Prabhupada used to visit a devotee's house or anybody's house, he used to not see, oh, how expensive is the house. He used to not see, oh, this house is worth 10 crores or $100 million or $1,000 million. He used to say whether this house has Krishna or not. And that's why Prabhupada recommended that the focus should be being more Krishna conscious than being self conscious. That's why Srila Prabhupada recommended, especially for the Grihasthas, deity worship. Because when you have deities, the whole focus will be on how can I serve them, how can I decorate them, how can I please them. From selfish attitude to serving Krishna in selfless attitude. That is very important. One time, one newly married couple, they came to His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, and there they came to meet Maharaj and take his blessings. And they told Maharaj that Maharaj, we are just newly married couple. Please bless us. Please give us some instruction. And His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj said that, between every married couple, there should be a divine couple, Radha and Krishna. So when you have Radha and Krishna in between us, then everything will be nice because the focus is not on how I can enjoy, but the focus is on how I can serve. The Bhagavatam says, people are attached to wife and children and family. But today's age of Kali Yuga, where even people, they are so-called attached only for sense gratification, but the same person is killing them. In Kali Yuga, we see so many examples where their own family members are killing them. Just recently, I came across a devastating incident, a crime incident, which shook the whole world and especially in India. In 1995, a very, very high profile case came into existence in Delhi. There was this famous uh, leader of Youth Congress of Delhi that time, and he was in love with a lady, and then secretly they got married, and for a few days they had a very nice married life. But later on, the husband found out that this wife had an extramarital affair with one of his friends. And one fine day, he came to his house and he saw that his wife was busy talking to that friend. And in that mood of anger and jealousy, he became so angry that he took his revolver and he shot her dead. And now he's killed his wife. But now, because he was worried about his reputation, that what will happen, if somebody knows that I killed my wife, my whole political career will be ruined. I'll be in jail. So this person, he not just killed his wife, he cut her body into pieces. And then he called one of his friends who was a owner of his restaurant in Connaught Place, which is in Delhi. And he went to his place. Now he told his friend that what should I do? Now his friend had a restaurant, and in their restaurant there was a tandoor. Now many of us have eaten tandoori rotis. So now what to do? He put that body into that tandoor and burnt it. I'm sorry to say, but telling you all this because we want to tell you that people in today's world, they say that they are attached to their family, their wife, the children, but at the end they are attached to their self. And a small tinge which is obstructing their sense gratification, they are ready to do anything and they can ready to go to any extent, and that's what we see. And the fourth is vitta. Vitta means money. Today we see how people are attached to money. Money is compared to fire. A fire can also cook food, and the fire can also burn the house, right? Everybody needs fire to cook and eat, right? So similarly, money is important, but if you are attached to money, or sense gratification, then that same money will be cause of destruction. So money is liberating when we use it to serve Krishna. We have the famous example of how Srila Prabhupada, one devotee told Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, this is a Swami, you know, he has a picture that there is so much money kept in front of him, and he's posing like this. No, no, I don't want money. Prabhupada said, give me that money. I'll pose like this. I want money. Because Prabhupada said, I am using this money not for me, but for Krishna, to make these beautiful facilities for devotees, for spreading Krishna consciousness. So that is what is so important. There's so much endeavor people use to, earn money. People, travel 2 hours, 3 hours daily, you know, to go to job, to work, and then they try to be happy, in that way. But unfortunately, the whole aspect is how can I enjoy rather than how can I serve Krishna, right? But then we see the example that our devotees, their focus is how can I serve Krishna? And when we try to do bhakti in that way, we are naturally happy and naturally satisfied. We know there are people who have very meager income, very simple people. They may not have so much wealth, but they may have that satisfaction because they are practicing Krishna consciousness. I think almost 2 decades before, we went to a yatra with some of our youths. And the yatra was in Jagannath Puri. And before Jagannath Puri, we went to a place called Remuna, where this beautiful deities of Khirchor Gopinath is there. And in this beautiful place of Remuna, it was such a simple village. And in that such a simple village, we were almost around 200 youths that time. And many of them are from the prestigious institute of IIT and IISc and top engineering colleges of Bombay and Maharashtra. So when all this youth came at the end of the yatra, they were asked that what was the most important aspect of the yatra which touched you the most. They of course said, of course, the Lord Jagannath and the Jagannath Rath Yatra. But the most important part of the yatra was the day when they went to Remuna. And after the darshan, one of the devotee from Kanjurmarg used to stay there, and that was his village. And in that village, there was no electricity and there was meager facilities. But and in that small village, how the whole village welcomed, how the whole village, when they saw devotees, they were blowing conch shell, they were putting rangoli. Since there was Harinam Sankirtan, they cleaned the whole village. And then in the evening, after the Harinam Sankirtan, we came to that place. There was kirtan, there was beautiful lecture. And at the end, there was 15-item feast which was served for all the devotees. And not even one devotee was charged. Everything was free. And they did not, they just had a thatched roof. Although they did not have so much wealth, but they had wealth of bhakti. They had wealth of devotion. And they welcomed the devotees. And they welcomed the sadhus by washing their feet. So this was their experience that touched devotees' heart. So many times people feel that, wealth I will make me happy. But sorry, that will not make you happy. And His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj once shared that he was traveling in some part of the world, and while he was walking, a limousine came and it stopped. And seeing Maharaj's attire, he thought maybe he's a Buddhist monk or something. He said that, where are you going? Can I drop you somewhere? And Radhanath Maharaj said that I'm just going somewhere. And he said, why don't you sit in my car? And Maharaj said, okay. And he sat in the car. It was a huge car. And the person was extremely, extremely wealthy. And he said that I have so much wealth, I have so much money. but I am still unsatisfied. I have broken relationship. I have so much difficulties in my life. But I see you. You have nothing. You have no money. You have no possessions. But you seem to be more happy than me. And then Maharaj just shared the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. And this person was so happy. So the point which I am trying to say is, you know, wealth did not enter his heart because his heart was not Krishna conscious. But we see Maharaj, although he did not have any penny, but that transformed him. Similarly, we see Sudama. Sudama had no wealth, he was so impoverished. But when he came to Krishna, Krishna did not see his situation, Krishna sees his heart. And he washed his feet, he offered him his seat, and at the end, he embraced him and he ate that poha. And then he went back without asking. Krishna gave him more than whatever he desired. He had this beautiful wealth. And I think in the 10th canto that verse comes, na? What is that? Kvachit daridram Sriniketana. Yeah, that verse where he's saying that Sriniketana, you are the Lord of the universe. You are the Lord of Lakshmi. And you are embracing me. I am full of poverty. I am, poor. I have no qualification. I am sinful. But your mercy is the only thing which I got. And the last is Janeshu, friends. You know, today people associate with friends, they try to keep friends. But that friendship, it can be liberating or it can be bonding, right? If that friend, helps you to indulge in sense gratification, so it is bonding of this world. You know, many of the friends, they tell you, come, let's drink together. Even if you don't drink, they'll force you, come, nice, drink it, right? And then you try to become a chain smoker or you try to become a drunkard. But that same association of devotees, they liberate you. In the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse, Satang prasangan mama virya samvido karnar satayana suga. That how by association of devotees one can liberate from the cycle of birth and death. In this world, everybody is attached. But if you are attached to a devotee of the Lord, then that attachment can take you back home, back to Godhead. So many times we try our best to attach ourselves to Krishna, which is difficult. But it is said that when you are attached to a devotee, then that is very easy because Krishna will say that you are not my devotee, but when you are devotee of my devotee of my devotee, then you are actually my devotee. So that is very, very important. And we see in the Shastras, for example of Vidura, Sudama, Gajendra, Draupadi, Pralada, all of them, they had so many difficulties, but they could attain God just by being attached to Krishna, by giving their material attachments. And that's why Krishna in the Gita says, Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya Mam Eva Prapadyante Mayam Itantarantite. Krishna in the Gita says that my Maya is very powerful, but if somebody takes shelters of me, then it is very easy to conquer. Right? So that is the whole sum and substance of this verse. So we'll try to end here. To in conclusion, we saw how Gajendra was trapped in the waters and especially by the crocodile. And then he starts offering these prayers. And especially in these prayers, we see that how he is praying that those who are attached to this material world, for them it is very difficult to attain you. But for those who are attached to you, who are not attached to this world, they can easily attach to you. So that is what has been explained by this Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So it's already 9. If anybody has any questions, we can take one. If not, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol.